Hey there, history friends. It's your favorite follically challenged storyteller, Mr. J. Yep, that's right, the shiny one himself. Grab a comfy seat, maybe a snack. I recommend something crunchy because it helps the learning stick. Because today we've got a wild political ride in store for you. We're diving into a story of votes, deals, and the end of an era. That's right. It's time for the election of 1876 and the compromise of 1877. Or as I like to call it, when politics got so messy they needed a mop and ended Reconstruction instead. It's the year 1876. Think about it. The United States just turned 100 years old. Happy birthday to you. There were probably fireworks, parades, and, oh yeah, a lot of leftover problems from the Civil War. The war had only ended 11 years earlier, and the country was still trying to glue itself back together. Just imagine if you had broken your mom's favorite vase and tried to put it back together with spaghetti noodles. Yeah, it's kind of how Reconstruction left the United States fragile, messy, but people were trying anyway. The federal government was working hard to rebuild the South, protect newly freed African Americans, and help them claim their rights as citizens. This time period was called Reconstruction. It had some big wins like the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment, ending slavery, granting citizenship, and protecting voting rights. But not everyone was on board. Many of the white Southerners weren't too happy about these changes, and violence and intimidation was spreading. Groups like the Ku Klux Klan or the KKK were terrorizing black communities and Republican leaders alike. So, by 1876, the country was tired. The North was tired of spending money and energy on the South. The South was tired of federal soldiers watching their every move. Basically, everyone was tired and cranky. The perfect mood for a presidential election. Enter the contenders. In this corner, we've got Samuel J. Tilden, the Democrat from New York, clean-shaven, serious, and promising to end corruption. In this corner, we have Rutherford B. Hayes, Republican from Ohio, a man with a beard so majestic it could host its own podcast. Election night rolls around. Americans head to the polls, and guess what? Tilden wins the popular vote. He's leading the Electoral College, too. He's at 184 votes, just one shy of becoming president. But hold on. Something's a little fishy. Something's a little sus. 3 southern states, Florida, Louisiana, and South Carolina, report confusing results. Each side says, we won. It's like 2 kids both calling shotgun at the same time, and mom just sighs. No one knows who really won. Votes are being challenged, ballots being questioned, and rumors fly faster than a middle school group chat. The press goes wild. Politicians panic. People whisper, could this lead to another civil war? Yikes! So, Congress steps in. They're like, all right, calm down, everybody. Let's make an electoral commission to settle this. They put together a group of 15 people, senators, representatives, and Supreme Court justices who decide which votes to count. Now, on paper, that sounds fair. But guess what? The commission ends up with 8 Republicans and 7 Democrats. Wonder who's going to win that vote. After weeks of tension, arguing, and enough political drama to make a reality TV show look lame, the commission awards all 20 disputed electoral votes to Hayes. That gives him 185 votes, just one more than Tilden's 184. That's right, one single vote decided this election. Talk about a close shave. And I'd know a thing or two about those. But here's the twist. Hayes doesn't just win because of the commission's decision. Behind the scenes, politicians are cutting a deal. Surprise, surprise. A hush-hush backroom handshake known as the Compromise of 1877. Democrats say, fine, we'll accept Hayes as president if you remove federal troops from the South. And the Republicans wanting peace said, deal. And that's like trading your dessert for someone else's french fries. Sounds fair at the time, but later on you realize you gave up something sweet. And just like that, When President Hayes takes office in March of 1877, federal troops begin to pack their bags. By April 24th, the last soldiers leave Louisiana, the final symbol of federal power in the South. Without those troops, the Republican-led Reconstruction governments collapse faster than a house of cards in a wind tunnel. White Democrats, who call themselves Redeemers, quickly take control of state governments again. They promise peace and order, but what they really bring are new laws that limit the rights of African Americans. These laws become known as Jim Crow laws. They'll shape the South for decades, enforcing segregation or separation by color, voter suppression, and inequality. The withdrawal of troops marks the end of Reconstruction. The North moves on, the South rewrites its rules, and millions of newly freed African Americans lose much of the progress they'd gained. Now I know what you're thinking. Mr. J, that's a bummer of an ending. Yeah, it kinda is. But like every good story, it teaches us something important. The Compromise of 1877 reminds us that history isn't all about laws and leaders, it's about choices we make. Leaders chose political peace over protecting equality. They chose to settle in an election instead of standing up for the rights of citizens. And those choices had consequences. And those consequences lasted nearly a century, until the civil rights movement of the 1950s and the 1960s began to challenge Jim Crow laws and demand justice once again. Alrighty then, let's shine up today's key facts, brighter than my forehead under classroom lighting. First one. Election of 1876 was one of the most disputed elections in U.S. history. Number 2. Compromise of 1877 made Rutherford B. Hayes president by just one vote. Number 3. In exchange, federal troops were withdrawn from the South, officially ending Reconstruction. And finally, without federal protection, African Americans lost many of the rights they had gained, and Jim Crow laws spread all over. So, next time you're in a tough negotiation, like trying to trade chores with your sibling, remember the Compromise of 1877. You might win the argument, but make sure you don't lose something more important in the deal. And hey, remember, Rutherford B. Hayes might have won by one vote, but he definitely didn't win the popular vote. That's right, even back then, people were saying, wait, the guy with fewer votes won? History doesn't repeat itself. But sometimes it rhymes. Well, my history heroes, that's our story for today. A tale of tight elections, tough compromises, and lessons that still matter now. I'm Mr. J, the shiny one, reminding you that the past doesn't stay in the past, it lights the way forward, especially if your head reflects as much light as mine. As always, stay curious, stay kind, keep shining those minds and domes bright with knowledge.